Lights, camera, action.
When a script is written that is so bad, no one will film it. These brave podcasters will bring it to life just so they can mock it. This is Table Reads.
So the movie's kaput, which means your script ain't worth the buffalo shit on a nickel.
Table Reads with Sean McBee, Jeff Lewis, and Joshua Baker.
Hey guys, welcome to Table Reads Quarantine Edition. I'm Sean. You got Jeff and Josh over there.
That's me.
We are in various undisclosed locations, hiding from the coronavirus. But we are still here for you because providing you with entertainment is the only thing that gives our lives meaning.
Yes. I agree to that. I'd be a lot more into this Corona thing if it was an actual beer. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, you would think coronavirus would at least have the decency to get you drunk.
Right?
But not so much.
Drunken death.
This makes you sad.
You treat it with a little salt and a lime.
All you get's the downer part. There's none of the party.
Yeah. No party, bro.
It's all hangover. And not even Corona hangover, but like real fucked up tequila and bourbon in one night hangover.
That's still Corona hangover. If you let the motherfuckers sit in the fridge, they start smelling like weed. That's when you drink it.
You like that skunk Rona.
Yeah, oh my God.
So we're back with part 2 of Watchmen this week. And John Smith is not joining us for this episode, and I'll tell you why. Because I didn't want to have to try to deal with technoing a third person into this whole setup. Just these two was hard enough. It's been a lot of work. Just to
almost got furloughed from the podcast.
It was
John Smith did. Oh, fuck.
He'll be back. I want him back.
Yeah.
But
He'll be back when we get a few more patrons, guys. Come on.
You gotta buy John Smith back.
Get on that Patreon.
Premium subscribers get John Smith directly in their inbox.
John Smiths don't come cheap. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of them, but they're still in high demand.
You have to make John Smith a separate audio track and file that only is uploaded in the Patreon version.
An alternate version of the whole podcast.
Oh, fuck.
All right, so who's ready to find out where we've been?
Hey.
Oh, good.
Previously on Table Reads.
So in part 1 of Watchmen, we were treated to a look at a past mission of the superhero team, the Watchmen, a team never given that actual name in the comics, and a mission that, apart from not making a lot of sense, we absolutely did not need to see. Fast forwarding a bunch of years from that, we got to live through the basic beginnings of the comics. There's a bloody crime scene, Rorschach investigates, he discovers that the victim was the vigilante known as the Comedian, and then he eats beans and tells Dan Drieberg, formerly Night Owl, that someone is probably after the old costumed heroes. When we left off, Dan was reaching for the phone to make a call.
Fade in.
And if you're following along at home, we are on scene 51. Interior, office suite, downtown Manhattan, night. A great shadowy jungle cat pads across acres of carpet. The cat is far from its natural habitat. In back of it is a glass and chrome desk outfitted with a computer terminal. And at the terminal is Adrian Veidt, the brains behind the Watchmen. Although he's Dryberg's age, his face is serene and unlined by worry. Blonde and pale, he looks 30. When he's 60, he'll look 40. Veidt, millionaire industrialist and holder of over 40 basic patents, is also something of an Egyptologist, and the decor of his office reflects it. ancient vases, sarcophagi, busts of Anubis, and the like. He keys a string of figures into the computer. The phone rings.
Am I Veet?
Yes, you are. You were
Yes.
doing your best Jeremy Irons impersonation.
Veet here.
Intercut Dryberg and Veet. Adrian? Listen, it's Dryberg. I just had a visit from Rorschach. I had to call you before he...
Daniel, slow down. What's this about Rorschach?
The comedian. He's dead. Murdered. That's all I know.
My God. Murdered? What's this have to do with Rorschach?
He's got some kind of conspiracy theory. He thinks someone's, I don't know, stalking us.
Us. You mean the Watchmen?
God, every time they say the name of the team as the Watchmen, I get real mad.
It's us,
Crime
the
Busters.
Watchmen.
Crime Busters would have been better.
Yeah.
Oh,
The big cat purrs. It's a mutant lynx, genetically tailored, with red fur and long, tufted antenna-like ears. Veet tosses the lynx a chunk of raw meat from a platter on his desk while he ponders Dryberg's words.
Daniel, Rorschach is insane.
I know, it's just... He's back on the street. He smells blood.
You know how he is. He goes on these binges, kills a couple thugs, then he's satisfied. It blows over.
He's bound to get caught. I don't want my name coming out. Not at this late date.
If he comes here, I'll handle him. Remember, I've always protected you. Haven't I? Do you need money?
Kind of a dick thing to say, weirdly.
listen, son.
I was imagining Richard Gere talking to Julia Roberts the later years, like in Pretty Woman.
Would you like to go play catch?
No, I just wanted you to...
You did the right thing, Daniel. Let's stay in touch, okay? Good night.
Good night. Veet leans back in his chair, reaches for a gold case, and extracts a cigarette. It's matchless. You ignite it by striking... Okay, it says you ignite it, guy, striking the tip of the cigarette against the edge of the case.
I think he's explaining it.
He's
But, like-
explaining what's in the book, right?
Well, he's explaining it like he would talk it. Like he's like, yeah, he lights up a cigarette. It's matchless. You ignite it, guy, like striking the tip of the cigarette.
He lights
he
up.
shouldn't have said a cigarette. He should have said a cigarette-like device.
There you go.
Yeah, also it kind of looks like a crack pipe.
Yeah, it looks like you're about to freebase some meth rocks, dude. Like,
They really do.
about this.
It's like a long stick with a bulb toward the end, but not
Yeah.
all the way at the end. Just toward the
Oh.
end.
yeah,
so
they're
it's
all of them smoke the same thing in the book.
yeah.
You need money? Hash?
Molly, you look like a Molly guy.
He's a drug dealer.
Veet Industries.
He lights up and takes a long, slow drag. Cut 2. Exterior, military installation, night. Barbed wire, armed guards everywhere. A vehicle waits at the checkpoint. The guards wave it through, and a huge cast iron gate rolls into place behind it. On the gate is a small, tasteful sign which reads, Rockefeller Military Research Center. Interior, military installation, night. Adrian Veet walks down a long, greenish corridor flanked by armed escort troops. At the end of the hallway is a foot-thick metal door with a keypad off to one side. One of the troops punches in a 6-digit access code, and the door slides back to reveal another door.
Ooh,
This
Gasp.
with a 7. This is the real door.
What a
this one
twist.
has a 3-digit code.
It's 7 feet thick.
Another door. This one outfitted with a simple doorbell.
You ran out of cool ideas.
Oh, I know where they're going.
The troops ring the bell, stand rigidly at attention, and wait, to Veet's great amusement. The inner door slides open. Peering out is an attractive, big-boned woman in her mid-30s.
So what does that mean, big boned?
What is a big boned woman? She was not.
I'm
a big
looking it
boned.
up. A big boned woman.
Lori Jupesic, a.k.a. the Silk Spectre.
Is that how you say her name?
Fuck if I know, man. I would like to buy a vowel is what I would like to do.
Jupesic. I didn't even really pronounce it when I was reading the comic.
Why the fuck do
was
you
like,
think she went by Lori Jupiter?
Yeah,
Maybe-
but she didn't like that. She didn't like Jupiter.
Yeah, but maybe.
And then
this is
she
why
changed it to Blake.
Blake. Yeah.
Anything but Jupesic.
Just specific. It looks like somebody lost in Scrabble and then fought to make sure it was a real word.
Oh yeah. It was like, I'm challenging that shit.
He's like,
Triple
yeah, but
word
he's
score on that, my ass.
They're like, that's not a real word. He's like, that was my grandpa's name. Fuck you.
So big boned women. If you Google that, it's kind of a disappointment.
Oh.
Is that what BBW stands for?
No, that means big beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And that occurs on a spectrum too, dog.
I'm gonna mute my mic and I'm gonna look up BBW. All right, sorry.
Who wants to be Lori?
I'll be Laura. Y'all are talking.
What
Adrian,
is it?
I'm a big bone woman.
Oh shit! I better find my script. There it is.
He's just going down that BBW rabbit hole.
Did you say Adrian already?
Yeah, Adrian.
Lori, good to see you.
She gives him a warm hug.
Or she
The
gives
escort
him a-
troops march back down the hall in a perfect lockstep as the giant metal doors ease shut behind them. Lori escorts Fight into a huge laboratory space. Great oversized machines, blinking computer terminals, blue dick, advanced scientific... Oh, wait, sorry. Advanced scientific paraphernalia of every description.
Nice. Who's your decorator? Oh wait, sorry, wrong
That
one.
was me,
Sorry.
dog. You're stepping on
My
my
bad.
lines, bro.
That's
Wow. What the fuck? You know, this is my contract. You're fired.
Oh, I'm out.
Nice. Who's your decorator? Edward Teller?
Don't rub it in. I live here.
And how's life with the walking H-bomb?
He's in by the super accelerator. Let me take your coat.
She takes his coat and vanishes into the living quarters. Veet wanders through the lab with an envious eye. Suddenly, he stops. A smile crosses his face as he gazes up at the ceiling.
Hi, John.
Okay, so I don't remember who Dr. Manhattan was before, but here's the thing. I cannot give you guys echoes
Right.
So you be Manhattan.
Yeah,
Ju-
you just be
just
mad.
for this episode, or while we're in quarantine, however many episodes that is.
Dude, they canceled April, bro. Like,
Hello,
Oh.
Adrian.
cool.
Dr. Manhattan, John Osterman to his friends, is a big guy under any circumstances, but at the moment, he's downright gargantuan. 40 feet tall, bright blue, and buck naked. He's calmly adjust. Can you imagine that view? Oh my god. That's like-
Yeah.
Gooch and scrote. At least he doesn't have any hair.
Sounds great.
We are
Observe
looking
my
for-
glorious blue taint, Adrian.
Wink.
Oops, I dropped a piece. Better bend down to get. How's being 40 feet tall work for him? Like, the screws aren't 40 feet tall. Like, the screws are normal little bitty screws. So, like, his hands are at
I don't
least
think he
4
needs
times-
to touch
him.
them.
Yeah, he just looks at him. He's just
Uh.
tall because he wants to look at the stuff that's up without having to use a ladder.
So he
I mean,
dropped it on
He
purpose.
wants to force people to look at his blue taint. It's a power move. Oh, like before Adrian got there, dude was like 5'10". But he's like, oh, we have guests? Oh, and it's that guy? Oh, watch this shit.
Oh, Jeremy Irons is here.
Jeremy Irons is here to see my taint.
He
Better
thinks
dust
he's
the
such
top,
hot
though.
shit. I'll make him look at my taint while he talks to me and see how that cuts him
Banging
down to size.
13-year-old girls.
It's a funny bit knowing that he's basically God and he's like still jealous and feels like he has to like big dick around.
I
Literally.
make my dick huger than every person on the planet.
I love that he's still just got these like frat boy mentality, even though he can do anything.
Where the fuck were we?
He's in like 10 different timelines, and he's like, I'm banging 10 women right now. I bet you never banged 10 women in your life.
Adrian,
3 years from
I'm
now,
banging
you're
your mom and your daughter and your grandmother all right now.
All when they were 16 years old.
You're in a crib in the next room.
And each of them
You're
is getting
right every
3 of
time.
me.
I'm your stepdad now.
Go get me a beer, bitch.
I am finger cuffing your mother at this moment while we speak. But please go
Wow,
on.
what is-
Wow.
I love the idea that the lore for table reads is that Dr. Manhattan's a fucking Chad.
The most powerful creature in the universe.
He's a fucking Chad.
And he just uses his powers to fuck your mom.
Yo, what up? I'm Bryce Manhattan.
He named him Watchmen. He named him Watchmen because that's what he likes to do.
I love the Watchmen. Watch me, Watchmen.
40 feet tall, bright blue, and buck naked, he's calmly adjusting a calibration atop his particle accelerator. I think I'm about to detect a gluino. In case you were wondering, this blue-skinned Superman can do just about anything. He can manipulate matter effortlessly. The physical universe is his plaything. When it comes to the laws of time and space, Dr. Manhattan is a chronic offender. Any government would be glad to have him.
Super symmetrical theorem. Say, I understand old Schwartzman caught a decaying proton in that German mine shaft.
Lori, who's just reappeared, shakes her head and groans.
Please, you guys, no shop talk. John, you're being rude. Why don't you shrivel down and join us?
Dr. Manhattan shrugs and shrinks down to a somewhat more manageable 6'5". A pair... Just gotta have that extra little bit.
Still more than he normally was. She's like, John, you were at least 6 inches shorter.
And you know if Penn Jillette was in that room, motherfucker would be 6'7". Dr. Manhattan shrugs and shrinks down to a somewhat more manageable 6'5". A pair of black trunks materializes around his waist, preserving his modesty.
Ooh.
Because if it's not man-sized, why bother having it out, right?
You could just not have it.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah,
he
I
could
guess-
just make himself a Ken doll. Like,
He could also just be made of dicks.
he can do anything. Why would you even be like, better put on some black underwear?
Yeah, like put on all your clothes. Like, okay, we're in quarantine. I'm not going out in public, so I'm wearing sweatpants today. But I'm not here podcasting with you guys in my fucking underwear. Though I could.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
It would. But what I'm saying is the guy decides to be modest and he puts on underwear. Like a Speedo. It's just weird.
It's a weird shaped. It's weird in the book. It's a very funny shaped Speedo too.
Yeah, it's like a V shape.
It like comes up
high
waist
whale
high.
tail.
It's like above his hips. Like
It's like a thong.
Yeah, it's very 80s. And then
Fuck
then
Korea.
Senator Keene Jr. has it in the Watchmen TV show. It's like the same ones.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Spoiler.
That was a nice touch. You know, it's not a spoiler unless you know why he has them.
That truly is the mystery.
Yeah.
First episode, he's like, "Why would a grown man wear these?" And then 8 episodes later, we figure it out.
He just has a fetish.
Racism.
Racism is his fetish.
Hurt my feelings again.
6'5", preserving his modesty. Satisfied, Lori turns to Vite. Lori.
Oh, sorry. Good to see you, Adrian. What's the occasion?
He tosses a casual glance around the lab. A number of video surveillance cameras are mounted on the walls.
Are we being monitored?
Dr. Manhattan looks... No, the government just lets the human H-bomb do what he wants without watching him at all.
Everything before the first door, but not after the bell door.
Yeah. Dr. Manhattan looks at each of the cameras in turn. One by one, the little red on light winks out. The bearer of bad news.
We've lost a colleague. The comedian is dead.
Blake? Dead?
Yes, I heard this morning. Washington's asked me to attend the funeral as a matter of protocol. Lori shoots an irritated look at Dr. Manhattan. This is the first she's heard about it.
Rorschach's on the case. He's got Dryberg in a lather. He seems to think that someone is stalking the Watchmen.
Oh? The CTU suspects a Libyan hit squad.
What's your theory?
Life and death are unquantifiable abstracts. They don't concern me. Vite peek. Ah!
I was waiting
Wrong
for
button.
that. I'm so heavy.
Mine is the one button I can't see.
Oh, it's rough.
So I accidentally turned on Mic 2's echo. Not helpful at all. Vite peeks at Lori, cocks an eyebrow. Same old John. But Lori is considerably less amused. Lori.
I could use a drink. How about you, Adrian?
Vite nods yes. Dr. Manhattan, meanwhile, has moved off to another part of the lab. He stands before a vast bank of machinery, and as we watch, a panel detaches itself from the front of the console and floats off to one side.
I just want to say I'm sorry for being delayed on the reading. It's not formatted correctly, so a lot of the times I don't know when you're talking and like what's describing something and what's dialogue.
Yeah, it is hard to read
Yeah,
a little bit. I
the
have it blown up humongous.
dialogue is supposed to be centered, and for those of you on our YouTube feed, you can see exactly what it is we're reading and how badly formatted it is, and also how parts of it are being cut off by our frame. Sorry, deal with it.
Oh shit!
Too late now. I set it up using a different script as my test piece, and that was dumb. A module of circuit boards, chips, and pin connectors slides out of the hole. Individual components detach themselves and hang in midair. Dr. Manhattan hasn't lifted a finger. He's dismantling and reassembling his equipment through sheer force of mind. See, Jeff?
Yeah, but he's supposed to be fucking right now, and I don't like where any of this is. She's supposed to be licking his fingers and saying it tastes like batteries. I don't like any of this shit. Where's the kink?
He was wearing weird underwear.
Whatever.
Vite has seen these parlor tricks before. He ambles up and resumes the conversation without missing a beat.
I guess you'll be dismantling Russian tanks soon.
Do you mean Afghanistan? It won't require my attention. What I'm doing here is far more interesting. The module, now fully reconstructed, slides back into place. The cover panel rises off the floor, settles over the hatch, and screws itself shut.
Well, I wanted to bring you the news about Blake, but as usual, I can't tell you anything you don't already know. Goodbye, John.
Dr. Manhattan nods, just barely. Vite heads for the door, finds his coat where Lori put it. He's just about to leave when she arrives with 2 stiff drinks in hand.
Adrian, don't leave so soon.
I'll take a rain check, Lori.
Please.
There's a note of desperation in her voice. Veet glances over his shoulder at Dr. Manhattan, who's 40 feet tall again, playing with his super accelerator.
He's a little farther gone every time.
Stay, Adrian. Every once in a while, I need to talk to someone human. He doesn't think like we do. He doesn't even feel what we feel. I mean, he even scares the research teams.
Sorry, my computer's acting weird.
While Josh is waiting for that,
Here I am. I'm ready. I'm ready. Shut up.
Whoa.
Lori, he's the most powerful man who's ever lived. He's changed the world.
I know. I shouldn't be saying this. He's happy. He's content. He's doing his work.
What about you?
I suppose I'm serving my purpose, aren't I? I'll ring for the guards.
She goes to the steel door, hits a buzzer. Veet watches her, concerned. She coughs violently, and he reaches into his vest's pocket for a cigarette case.
Nasty cough. Try one of mine. Darling, you need to get out of the house. Why don't you give Daniel a call? I'm sure they'd be glad to hear from you.
That's the opposite of what she needs to do right now. So maybe I'll do that.
I'm sorry about Blake.
He pats her on the shoulder. The door slides open and the troops appear to escort Veet back down the hallway. Lori takes a long pull on her drink and gazes up at her superhuman lover. He tinkers with his equipment, then, satisfied, he turns and walks through a solid brick wall, as if it weren't there. Cut 2. Exterior, Happy Harry's, establishing, night. A decrepit waterfront bar in a particularly rough neighborhood, popular with the denizens of the underworld, accessible by a narrow stairway which dips well below street level. Interior, Happy Harry's, night. The usual crowd, living it up. Hookers line the bar. Drug dealers hover at the entrance to the... Do they have assigned seating? What's...
Oh, bad Tony sits there. Little Jeff, he's got to go over there. You know, he doesn't like it when you call him little.
It's like a department store instead of like housewares and clothing, you have hookers and drug dealers.
Third floor, assorted goons and thugs.
Assorted goons and thugs stand clustered at the pool table, watching a topless dancer bump and grind. Wait a second. Was this movie actually going to be a rated R 1990 superhero movie? Because that would be fucking bold.
I think they're doing the old Hollywood of 2 tits to 1 dick ratio.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Okay, but how is the ratio affected if the dick is 8 feet long?
That's why you would be seeing a lot more topless dancers.
A man-sized dick.
A man-sized dick.
I have become a dick.
His
You were
name,
already a dick,
Happy
Manhattan.
Harry.
I lost it.
Topless dancer bump and grind.
Topless dancer. Good thing they capitalized that so I could find it easily.
At least she should get a credit.
Frank Miller got a credit for writing this.
I thought we were reading another Frank Miller when he started. Interior, Happy Harry's, night. Hookers.
You know,
Whores.
at least when Alan Moore writes a bunch of naked women, he usually has a woman illustrate the book.
That's true. That's a fact.
Like Lost Girls. He's like, I'm going to write a bunch of girls like doing sexy stuff and, masturbating and things. But I'm going to get a woman to draw it, so it'll be okay.
That makes it okay.
Which is not his accent at all, because he is British. But whatever.
Now draw it, and I'm going to stand behind this bush.
I went to look through this hedge and watch you draw it.
You're gonna draw it? What color are her nipples?
Yes.
Now prick your finger and color it with your blood.
Now just make her a bit more sad. She is English after all.
Sadder. Sadder.
She's
Sadder.
eating-
Sadder. Sadder. Sadder.
She's eating beans.
Cold beans.
Straight from the can. Oh, yes.
Oh.
Evolved into something.
Our Watchmen is better.
That's not even Watchmen.
That's just Alan Moore writing Watchmen.
That was just.
That's actually the movie that we want to watch. Is
Oh.
Alan Moore descending into madness writing this fucking story, right?
Now,
You wouldn't even
hold
focus
on,
that.
though,
It was
because-
hypothetical Frank Miller jerking off in a bush to a chick drawing nude chicks masturbating with big beans.
We've been in quarantine a long time, Jeff.
now you're talking about Alan Moore's descent into madness, but after we recorded the last episode, I sent you guys page 1
Oh, you did.
of his
Yeah.
Watchmen script from the
Just
comics.
one big brick of
Jesus Christ. It was like a fucking end user agreement for fucking.
EULA for Alan Moore.
It's really fucking insane, right?
I didn't like it at all.
I think it was the first panel. Was it the first panel?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I showed it to the lady at the Wendy's drive-thru. She didn't like it either.
It was just a solid page of all caps, like non-formatted, no line breaks, just stream of consciousness insanity to describe just that one panel of blood flowing into a sewage drain. Guy's fucking nuts, guys.
I love that. Just this is the place that Table Reads takes us. There's just one paragraph about topless dancers, assorted goons, and drug dealers, and boy, we took it, and we took it to the peak, and then we brought it back to real. And I appreciate that about this group that we have here.
We have a nice dynamic, I think. Anyway,
Right there.
topless dancer bump and grind. Suddenly, there's a terrible racket and everyone turns. Over by the entrance, Rorschach is hard at work ripping a payphone off the wall.
Give me my quarter back, you piece of shit.
I thought he was going to be beating the guy up. He just came in and attacked a payphone. I love it.
I guess in the 80s it'd been a dime.
But he's hard at work, which means he's been doing it for a minute. He's been over there just sweating.
He's got
Oh,
like
God.
he's got like a second Rorschach pattern of sweat.
In the future, these will be mobile. That starts today.
Once he has it on the floor, he gives it a couple of vicious licks with a crowbar. Then he strides casually over to the bar, where the proprietor, Happy Harry, is nervously polishing glasses.
Harry,
Rorschach?
phone's out of order. Mind if I use yours?
He reaches under the counter, sets a phone on the bar. Rorschach picks it up and flings it at a nearby table, scattering the patrons and yanking the cord cleanly out of the wall.
Got another one.
He turns and faces the assembled multitudes.
I'm assuming this is dialogue.
Yep.
Edward Blake, friend of mine, fell through a window. Might have had help. Thought maybe you could fill me in.
Enormous toughs sit riveted to their chairs, staring up in horror as Rorschach strolls past.
You, Gideon, whoremonger, nothing?
Wait. I'm guessing that he's pointing at people. So you doesn't know that guy's name. Gideon, that's the next guy. Whoremonger, that's the next guy. What? His name is Whoremonger?
You whoremonger. Johnny Gobbs was new at the schoolyard.
Behind Rorschach's back, a shadowy figure is slinking furtively toward the exit. Rorschach pivots suddenly, grabs him by the collar, yanks him off his feet, and slams him into a wall.
Nicky the Jap. In a hurry? You keeping secrets, Nicky?
Nicky sits slumped against the wall, quaking with fear. Rorschach extends a hand to help him up. He reaches out hesitantly, and Rorschach grabs him by the wrist, pulling him off balance. He closes a gloved fist around Nicky's pinky finger, twists it back, and snaps it.
Edward Blake, who killed him?
No answer forthcoming. Nicky lets out a horrible moan as Rorschach grabs his index finger and repeats the process.
Who killed Edward Blake?
Nicky passes out. Rorschach releases his grip, lets Nicky sink to the floor, and reaches for his crowbar. He's standing poised to let fly at Nicky's ribs when a voice in the crowd shouts out.
Jesus, he's in shock.
The comedian, who killed him?
By now, Harry's pulled a sawed-off shotgun from underneath the bar. Without looking up, Rorschach spins and heaves the crowbar. It catches Harry in the jaw, pitching him back into a rack of glassware. The shotgun discharges 2 harmless blasts into the ceiling. Silence in the bar as the onlookers await Rorschach's next move. He looks at the bleeding Harry, shakes his head in disgust.
So many vermin. So little time.
He bends, pulls the top... Wait, what? He bends, pulls the top coat off Nicky's quivering frame, and tosses it contemptuously at the nude dancer. Then he turns to go, pausing long enough to hiss at the crowd.
Hiss. Go back to your heroin and your child pornography. I'll be around.
Table Reads will return after this brief word from our sponsors.
What's up, docs and docettes? Trevor Thompson, the self-appointed Looney Tunes critic here, and if you like old cartoons and watching online reviewers dissect them, then you probably said the same thing I did about 2 years ago. Hey, what the fuck?
Here, watch your language, bud.
Every Saturday morning, I do a brand new commentary of a Warner Brothers short. All throughout the month, I do video essays examining the history of these cartoons. Catch my videos on youtube.com/FerrisWheelhouse2, or just use the hashtag Looney Tunes Critic. And now, here's Eric Bauza, the new voice of Bugs Bunny.
You've been listening to the Looney Tunes critic. Ain't he a stinker?
Lights, camera, action.
So the movie's kaput, which means your script ain't worth the buffalo shit on a nickel.
Now, back to Table Reads.
Hey, it's us! We're back!
Oh, what? And me.
We hope you enjoyed those commercials. We sure did. They're our favorite.
They're our favorite.
So, what do you
I
guys
like the
think?
commercials more than the show.
I thought episode 1 was a little boring because at least half of it covered just the basic stuff in the beginnings of the graphic novel. But I'm liking that we're getting some good Rorschach action here and some good taint action. Like, this is getting pretty good, I think.
Okay, but I know I made the sex joke earlier, but what do you think the advantage was of having Veidt have to talk about Edward Blake to Dr. Manhattan instead of Rorschach? Like, instead of Rorschach coming in begging for help, it was just Veidt being like, hey, just so you know, pow, this happened. I'm out. Like, but, like, what's the necessity of changing that?
Was it not Veidt in the comics?
Oh,
Oh, it's
no.
Rorschach.
You don't.
And
you
Rorschach
don't,
was
you don't.
asking
Yeah,
for help.
you don't know it's Veidt until near the end.
No, I mean that went to,
Oh, it was Rorschach.
huh.
I don't know why they changed it. I guess that'll be left to be seen.
Maybe he was just like, we gotta have Veidt do something.
Right, because I mean,
Give him
even
some
in
more
the-
screen time.
even the Happy Harrys make sense if Rorschach would have went to Manhattan for help, and Manhattan's
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm above all this shit. And he's like, fine, I'll fucking beat it out of people.
Yeah.
So he just goes on a rampage.
Literally
Well, it's-
random people.
Right? He just- what if that wasn't? What if they were terrified because that's none of their nicknames?
He doesn't know any of them. He's just making up names.
He's like super racist. So he's like, that nigga. Like,
And then we get out of Rorschach vision and we find out it's just a Denny's.
it's just like, were you Diddy?
Grand slam this.
I'm tired of all these goons and thugs. They're not. They're
It's like
just
old
people.
ladies and like truckers and shit.
Fade in.
That's my favorite.
He leaves the Denny's with, "Go back to your heroin and your child pornography. I'll be around."
That part was true.
Interior, military installation, living quarters, pre-dawn. The bedroom which Laurie shares with Dr. Manhattan at the Rockefeller Research Complex. It's not quite 6 a.m., still dark outside, and Laurie is asleep. She tosses around under the covers, reaches over to where Dr. Manhattan should be, but his side of the bed is empty.
John?
A luminous blue hand enters frame, strokes her cheek gently. Laurie closes her eyes and sighs. "I'm here, Laurie."
Is it time? Do you have to leave for the funeral?
"Not yet. There's plenty of time." A second blue hand strokes her hair. Laurie stretches luxuriantly. Dr. Manhattan kisses her softly on the throat.
You feel so good. Do you have to go?
The blue hand runs down the length of Laurie's shoulder and arm, toward her hip. She sighs dreamily. Would you like This doesn't work. "Would you like me to stay?"
Mm-hmm.
"I could stay and go."
And just how would you manage that?
She leans up to kiss him. The second blue hand continues its downward progress, almost colliding with a third blue hand, which is massaging Laurie's thigh. Third blue hand? Wait a minute. That's in the direction.
It is.
Laurie's eyes go suddenly wide. She sits bolt upright in bed. Dr. Manhattan is stretched out beside her. He is also sitting at the foot of the bed. There seem to be two of him.
Hey.
"Laurie, are you... Don't be upset."
Why was it two separate pieces?
Because it's the two different Dr. Manhattans.
Oh.
It says Dr. Manhattan
shit.
1 and Dr. Manhattan 2.
Oh no, it was just so shittily formatted. I thought it was like continued, but the 1 and 2.
Here's the one thing I never thought that I would be able to say about table reads. I had a threesome with Jeff.
That's me. My
And his
favorite
8-foot cock.
My favorite part was she didn't scream like a normal person. It's just a bunch of letter A's. That's why I was like, A.
This unique menage a trois proves a bit much for Laurie's fragile nerves. Fragile nerves? She's a fucking vigilante. She climbs angrily out of bed and reaches for a dressing gown.
John, please, don't enjoy these tricks. Just be one person again, please.
The big blue twins stand up, spreading their hands in identical gestures of apology as Laurie stalks past. "Laurie, I did it to please you. I thought you would find it erotic."
All right. It's just my nerves. I'm going stir crazy. In this place,
What? Stir crazy? Tell us about it. Oh, Corona!
God damn it.
While fumbling in her purse for a cigarette, Laurie happens to glance through a doorway into the lab outside. To her utter astonishment, she sees a third Dr. Manhattan out there, calmly running an experiment on one of his oversized toys. She marches angrily through the door. Interior, lab, a moment later, to confront Dr. Manhattan number 3.
You've been out here all along, haven't you? Running one of your stupid experiments.
Yes, I thought I could finish up before I leave for Washington.
So you sent your proxies in there to... John, really? How could you do this?
You seem to feel I've been neglecting you. Isn't that the case? I thought I'd solved the problem quite elegantly.
That's all it is to you, isn't it? Just another problem you can...
She doesn't see the other two Dr. Manhattans who have just entered the room behind her. They speak in perfect unison. Gee, how do I do this? "Laurie, please."
Just
Laurie,
like that.
Lori pivots, lets out a little squeal of shock. She turns back slowly, steadies herself on a lab table.
John, just go to Washington, all right? And take them with you. I could really use some alone time.
I wonder if he fucks himself when she's not around.
You know I do it, Lori.
They're like the human centipede. Just
She-
asses to mouth.
She comes home early one day, and there's just like 8 dick to ass Dr. Manhattans in a circle, and they're
In a
all
circle?
40 feet tall.
Yeah, it's just huge 8-foot cocks jamming blue everywhere.
It's not cheating if it's just me.
I wonder if his jizz is blue.
I'm gonna go with yes. Also radioactive.
Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. I was gonna go in Natasha Station. Oh, blue milk.
Oh.
Now you can't unsee it.
But yes, we do know that his semen is radioactive because I believe there is a woman on TV in Watchmen who he used to date that's like, I have cancer now, I'm dying because of that dude. And his jizz.
It's apparent that quasi-CGI superhero Dr. Manhattan's blue appendage serves no purpose other than to underscore his awesome masculinity. It will pass no urine or jizz, and it will never rise to attention. It's just there, an emblem of Dr. Manhattan's unearthly mightiness.
Are you reading something?
Yes.
He's reading the wiki that is dedicated to Dr. Manhattan's blue schlong.
It's a blog from 2009 called Dr. Watchman's Glowing Blue Penis, the review.
But they're also wrong because Lori's entire job with the government is fucking Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Her job is literally fuck that guy to keep him happy, and we will pay you a salary for that. Lori
You know-
Chapechnik is a prostitute, essentially.
This is my favorite one from Vulture.com. Dr. Manhattan's giant blue wiener gets glowing reviews. Sorry, I'm out.
All right.
Cheers.
The fuck? Jizz.
Oh, jizz. She storms back into the living quarters, past Dr. Manhattan's 1 and 2, who pop out of existence as soon as she passes. The original Dr. Manhattan cocks an eyebrow, sighs, and returns to his equipment. Fade through to interior rooftop restaurant, night. A pricey joint in Midtown. Dryberg and Lori, well fed, are hard at work on their second bottle of wine. She looks amazingly beautiful in full makeup and low-cut evening gown, but it's largely wasted on her preoccupied date. At the moment, she's filling him in on life with Dr. Manhattan.
This is like the lowest rent version of this script.
It is.
But none of that transition made any sense. Like, at least in the movie and book, he was like, tell him I said hi.
Yeah.
Like, and she's like, what? Tell Daniel I said hi.
No,
Like,
but
that's
see,
just cool.
you don't get it. When he cocks that eyebrow, that's supposed to convey that. Like, they're just putting all the weight on the actor to get that across.
Understood. Sorry, I'm Lori. The government's really worried. He gets so flaky sometimes. I guess it's no picnic being the world's only superhuman. I have to keep him in line.
She flexes her bicep and holds the pose, waiting for Dryberg to laugh. He doesn't. In fact, he barely even notices. His gaze has wandered off into a far corner of the room.
Excuse me, where exactly are you tonight?
I'm Dryberg.
Yeah, no.
I'm
Sean was
Dryberg, because I'm
Okay,
the
cool.
whitest.
You are the whitest.
That's true.
I don't know. I look pretty white in the video.
Sorry, it's this thing with Blake. I mean, you don't really think anyone's out to get us, do you?
Dan, are you really that paranoid? Let's face it, Eddie Blake was no Mother Teresa.
Psychotic pig. He had it coming, Mr. CTU.
Now wait. We all had the same option as Blake. It was work for the government or do time.
Fine. But the Civil Terrorism Unit, it's a fucking Gestapo. Dirty tricks, political assassinations. Now he's got Lori nervous. She scans the restaurant quickly, then leans forward and speaks in hushed tones.
Okay. You made your choice. You went underground. Some of us made other choices.
Yeah. That pig Blake gets buried at Arlington, full military honors. And I'm still in the psycho file with Rorschach. Lori looks at him a moment. She starts to chuckle. What's so funny? Have I got food in my teeth?
I'm just wondering what you would have said 10 years ago if you could see yourself right now. Well, here's to the comedian, because the fact is, he's dead, and we're not.
Drieberg makes a face and smiles despite himself. Exterior rooftop outside restaurant, night. Drieberg and Lori have repaired to the romantic rooftop terrace, which overlooks the Manhattan skyline. They're holding big snifters of brandy, and they're both pretty well drunk. The pisser is, nobody even remembers all the good shit we did. I mean, we were heroes.
Damn straight.
Damn straight, we were heroes.
Of course. We look like idiots in those bondage outfits.
Well, that was Adrian's idea. I know he's the smartest man in the world and all that, but talk about publicity hounds.
Hey, you remember that nut in the hockey mask with the asthma? What was his name?
Batman.
Oh shit!
Brought it back! Oh yeah, the one that used to confess to everything, hoping we'd beat him up?
That's the one. Whatever happened to him?
He pulled it on Rorschach. Rorschach dropped him down an elevator shaft. Lori looks aghast for a second and a half. Then her hand goes to her mouth, and like Dryberg, she's giggling helplessly. Camera pulls up and away, isolating them on the rooftop, and we hear a stentorian voice over scene.
In the midst of life, we are in death.
Cut 2. Exterior, Arlington National Cemetery. Day. An American flag lies on the coffin of Edward Blake.
And so we condemn our brother Edward Blake unto God, who shall change our vile body that it may be like unto his glorious body.
Tight on Dr. Manhattan, standing at a graveside amid a tight know of mourners. There's no weeping, no gnashing of teeth. Most of the attendees are bureaucrats or military men, obviously here for reasons of protocol. Nearby is a cadre of riflemen, ready to send Blake off with a traditional 21-gun salute.
According to the mighty workings whereby he is able to subdue all things unto himself.
A light rain begins to fall. Umbrellas open all around. Dr. Manhattan, of course, doesn't need one. The raindrops vanish miraculously before they strike him. Car horns sound in the distance, and he glances off at exterior, another part of the cemetery, that moment. Sentries stand at attention. They've blocked off part of the cemetery where the funeral is taking place, but the good doctor has been spotted nonetheless, and word of his presence is spreading like wildfire. Mourners and tourists are rushing in from every corner of the cemetery to get a look at the bright blue Superman. With all due respect for the dead, Arlington National is turning into a zoo. Gawkers are lined up, 3 or 4 deep. The sentries have their hands full managing the crowd. A kid breaks free from his parents and sprints across the grave to join the excited throng. As he does, our attention settles on the Vietnam War Memorial. It's not the familiar stark black wall. It is, bizarrely, a chiseled marble representation of Dr. Manhattan. His eyes are turned skyward, and he's cradling a wounded American grunt in his massive arms, Pieta style. On the pedestal beneath it, a bronze plaque bears the inscription, "In memory of the brave Americans who gave their lives to achieve victory in Vietnam." Below it are the names of the American dead. There are almost 400 of them. Exterior, military installation, night. The Rockefeller Military Research Center, Lori's home sweet home. Her car pulls up to the guard's booth and he waves her through. As soon as the chain link gate rolls back into place behind her, the guard picks up a phone and punches in a number. Exterior, Research Center, night. Lori strides up a concrete walkway at the entrance to the complex, fumbling in her purse for a mag-striped access card. She inserts the card into a slot at the door. Nothing happens. She tries again. Still no luck. Just then, a long black car pulls up behind her, and a uniformed officer, Major Adamson, steps out.
Major Adamson, I can't seem to get in the door.
Lori, I'll have to ask you to come with me.
Why? What's the problem?
I love that Jeff's reading her as still drunk.
Why not? Is she
I can't
not
tell
still
you
drunk?
What?
Is she not still drunk?
She is. I just love that you remembered that she was drunk,
Oh,
and so she's
okay,
probably
sick.
still drunk.
All right, cool.
I can't tell you that. It is quite urgent.
I would like to use the bathroom.
As she speaks, 2 armed guards come marching up the walkway.
The access code's been changed. Your card won't work anymore.
What?
Please.
The major puts a firm hand on her elbow and leads her off. The guards stand at attention, then fall in behind them as they pass. What a weird way to find out someone's broken up with you.
Right. Send a general after it.
Adamson holds the car door open. Lori's climbing inside when she sees something which turns her confusion into outright panic. The entrance to the research center has just opened, and emerging from it, onto the walkway, are a half-dozen men in full radiation suits. Interior, medical lab, night. Lori enters with full military escort. The troops hand her off to a team of doctors and technicians. Then drop back to stand guard at the door. A brusque nerd presents her... a brusque nerd? A brusque nurse presents her with a short white gown.
Vader is way better.
Mr. Pesnick, put this on if you would.
What?
Drink this.
The doctor hands Lori a glass full of iridescent green fluid. She stares at it, still somewhat nonplussed. Yeah, fuck
Drink.
yeah.
Drink it.
Interior medical lab, anteroom, night. Technicians monitor a series of computer screens. On the screens are shifting multicolored graphics patterns representing the interior of a human body as seen from a variety of angles. A leaded window opens on. Interior medical lab, night. We're watching what looks like an electronic sarcophagus. A donut-shaped housing traverses its length repeatedly, head to foot to head, sending a 3-dimensional readout telemetrically to the anteroom. Through a glass panel in the sarcophagus, we see Lori. He head wedged into a fixed metal brace, eyes darting fitfully left and right as she wonders just what the hell is going on. Interior, doctor's office, night. A man's hand slides a photograph across a table.
That's Colonel Brent Dobbs, John's military liaison.
Lori, still dressed in the white gown, is seated at a table surrounded by government agents in 3-piece suits. Chief Agent Schmidt looks at his cronies and replaces the photo with another taken from a thick sheaf.
Dr. Candelaria, he works on one of John's research teams, the quantum whatever.
Schmidt lays a third photo before her. It's a group shot of the Watchmen, the same picture that hung in Blake's closet. Lori hesitates.
That's John, obviously. And me, Adrian Veidt, Rorschach.
Their real names, please.
I don't know their real names.
You're lying, Mr. Specknick.
I don't know their real names.
You're not protecting anyone. These people's lives may depend on the answers you give.
Holding up the sheaf of photos.
These are all former associates of Dr. Manhattan.
Then why don't you ask him?
Furious, she pushes herself away from the table and moves to a nearby window. The agents exchange cool glances. Like all experienced torturers, they understand the value of patience.
I want to get dressed. And I'd like a cigarette.
One of the agents pulls a pack from his coat, shaking a cigarette out for Lori. As he's lighting it, a perfect gentleman, the door opens and a lab technician enters with a clipboard. He passes the clipboard to Schmidt, who examines its contents and tilts an eyebrow. Lori, looking on, is about to burst with curiosity.
Someone had better tell me what's going on here.
Sit down, Mr. Spezek. As I mentioned, the people in this file are all close associates of Dr. Manhattan. They have something else in common as well. They've all developed a fairly exotic form of lymphatic cancer.
What are you saying? That John is radioactive?
All at once, the obvious hits home, and Lori's face goes bone white. Schmidt nudges the clipboard toward her. Trembling, she takes it, then sets it down, staggered by what she's read.
I'm terribly sorry.
What does this mean? What is it?
6 to 8 months. That's with treatment. Perhaps now you can see why it's so important, so vital that we locate your friends.
That's it. This is all a trick, isn't it? Some kind of horrible joke to make me...
She scans the room. No one's laughing. Schmidt gets up, signals to his comrades, and heads for the door.
Take a day or two. If you remember any names, do give us a call.
The agents leave, and Lori sits alone in the office. She reaches for the clipboard and takes another long, hard look. Then, quaking, she buries her face in her hands. Interior, observation room, that moment. A darkened room just off the office. Lori is visible through a two-way mirror. The door opens, and Major Adamson, who's been watching all along, is joined by Schmidt.
Am I both of them?
I'll be Adamson.
Okay.
Poor kid.
We'll keep her in isolation a while. She'll give us some names.
To hell with those costumed idiots. I'm worried about Doc Manhattan.
What do you mean?
She's his last link to humanity. Once she's gone, God knows which way he'll jump. Dissolve 2. Interior. I hope I don't need to be him again because I'm never going to remember that voice. Intel. Interior hotel room, Washington, D.C. Day. Dr. Manhattan stands in front of a full-length mirror. He's wearing a navy blue double-breasted suit, a white shirt, and a maroon necktie with an irregular mauve pattern. The tie doesn't quite suit him. His brow wrinkles, and the tie magically transmutes into a more sedate white-red job with diagonal gold stripes. Too staid. Dr. Manhattan frowns, and the tie transforms itself into a handsome royal blue number with tiny hydrogen atoms for decoration. It does nice things for his complexion. Satisfied, he turns from the mirror, starts for the door, and dematerializes. See, the better way to do that would be to have a second Dr. Manhattan looking at him.
Like doing his tie for him, like tying it.
Right.
Yeah, that would be rad.
Like, and instead of a mirror, there's a third one that's just like looking him up and down.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's fucking cool.
I mean, if you can turn yourself into multiple people, fucking take advantage of it. Especially when you know he can see through the eyes of all of them at the same time.
So, because wouldn't that be like a funny bit, right? Like, it's, you know, if he's looking at himself, it's basically looking at him like he's looking at himself in a mirror.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so he would be able to like project it onto himself. He's like a little left,
He
a
would
little
move
right.
the same. He would like just like a mirror. Yeah.
That'd be fucking cool.
That would be a cool bit.
But, you know,
This movie sucks.
if there's anything
Well,
Watchmen's known for, it's the funny bits.
Well, it's not even a funny bit. It's a thoughtful bit. Like,
Yeah. Oh yes, interior, television studios, day. Technicians running to and fro. A harried director checks the green room where the staff is beginning to panic.
We're on the air in 5 minutes. Where the hell's that big blue son of a...
He stops, wisely, in mid-sentence. Dr. Manhattan has just materialized inside the studio, 2 feet from the director's face. Well, I thought I might have some sort of materialization sound effect, but I do not. That's the sound when he turns up.
Roll on snare drum.
I'm sorry. Am I late?
No problem. We'll have to head straight for the set. Oh my, Kent Turner, the director.
Oh, I'm Kent Turner.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my, Kent Turner.
Oh my, Kent Turner. Sorry. Oh, I'm Kent Turner, the director.
The director shakes Dr. Manhattan's hand and marches him down a hallway. Within seconds, they're joined by a government liaison.
Dr. Osterman, I've got a list of taboo areas here we'd like you to steer clear of. Obviously, Afghanistan will come up, but if you...
Okay, here's another great way they could fucking take advantage of Dr. Manhattan. Have him go, I'll read it after, and I'll know it now. Just give it to me after the interview, and I'll know now not to say any of that stuff during the interview.
Oh, I understand. Just to fuck with the time. That makes sense.
Because he coexists in all time simultaneously.
Right.
Yeah.
This movie's not that smart, man. We've been wising it up as we've been going, but we gotta see it what it is.
It's true. It's true. But it is part of our job to call it out when it's dropping the ball, right?
I believe so. That's what it said on the wall.
Yeah. Oh, I should put that on the wall.
Yeah, fix it. It's just big letters. Fix it.
Mission statement. Let the screenwriter know when he sucks.
It's you, Jeff.
Oh, the director, yeah.
You played it cool. Or Doc, that blue light of yours tends to wash out on camera. Could you give us something a little darker?
Dr. Manhattan pauses briefly. His skin darkens 2 shades. Will this do?
Perfect.
Now, Doc, please, on this Afghanistan thing.
But the good doctor is already at the edge of the set, surrounded by a cluster of sound men, production assistants, etc., who are hurriedly prepping him for the telecast. The frustrated liaison hangs back and glances up at an overhead monitor. The ABC News special report graphic is already on screen, with theme music underneath. Insert TV. I don't recognize this music. That's weird.
Spooky studio.
We're on Mars
music.
already.
Yeah, that's Mars music straight up.
Insert TV monitor. Stock footage. We open on a shot of terrified Viet Cong racing for their lives through dense jungle. The camera whip pans to the right and takes in an extraordinary sight. A towering 90-foot-tall Dr. Manhattan strides blithely through the jungle, occasionally directing a blast from his fingertips at the greenery below. American Hueys hover behind him, spitting out bursts of automatic fire, performing mop-up duty as this one-man defoliation crew does his apocalyptic thing. A superimposed title reads, Vietnam, 1965.
Dr. Manhattan, the nuclear titan spawned in a freak scientific mishap. For more than 20 years, the Manhattan option has been the linchpin of America's conventional strategy.
We cut
See, it wasn't Manhattan Project. Get it?
Ah!
Ah.
It's a Manhattan option.
We cut to Prague, where Russian tanks are rolling through a broad thoroughfare. Dr. Manhattan, only 40 feet tall this time, rounds a corner and emerges from behind a municipal building. His eyes gleam eerily, and the lead tank begins to heat up. Lead tank? I guess the tank is not made of lead, so I'm guessing that is lead. Begins to heat up, the gray gunmetal turning red before our eyes. The hatch springs open, steam hisses, and terrified Russian soldiers clamber out, only to be met with a barrage of rocks thrown by the local citizenry. Title reads, Czechoslovakia, 1968.
In trouble spots from Vietnam to Czechoslovakia to Nicaragua, a one-man cavalry coming to the aid of our democratic allies, holding the communist menace in check.
Daniel Ortega in Sandinista Drabs?
I'm looking that word up. That doesn't look like a word.
Yes, do.
It's just
Here.
like shitty clothes. I don't know where Sandinista is, but it's just robes and shit.
A member of a left-wing Nicaraguan political organization, the Sandinista National Liberation Front, which came to power in 1979 after overthrowing the dictator Anastasio Somoza, opposed during most of the period by the U.S.-backed Contras, the Sandinistas were voted out of office in 1990.
Oh, he's fucking what's his face? The Cuban dude.
Che Guevara.
Yeah.
Yep.
Daniel Ortega, in Sandinista Drab, sits at a table across from American Secretary of State G. Gordon Liddy. The two men shake hands, hold up signed treaty for the camera. Dr. Manhattan, in a three-piece suit, stands behind them, presiding over this historic accord. Title: Nicaragua, 1979.
In the famous words of General William Westmoreland, yes, Virginia, there is a Superman. Thank God he's American.
Interior soundstage, a moment later, day. A sparse, businesslike talk show set. 2 chairs, a table, a backdrop of the Washington Monument, and a gallery full of media people. Jaded news vet David Brinkley is manning the host's chair.
You want me to do it?
Can you do a David Brinkley impersonation?
For this live question and answer, is that David Brinkley?
Sure.
All right. Sick. I got a job.
You're hired.
For this live question and answer session, we'll be joined by correspondents from all 3 networks. But since I'm moderating, I'll ask you to keep your questions short and snappy. Now, let's welcome our guest, Jonathan Osterman, better known to the world as Dr. Manhattan.
Applause from the crowd. That's a sound effect I should have. Angle widens to include Dr. M, seated at Brinkley's right. He nods in acknowledgement.
I suppose the topic on everyone's mind this week is Afghanistan, where Russian tanks appear to be poised for massive invasion. Now, since you've dealt successfully with similar situations in the past, I'll ask you point blank. Has the administration requested that you intervene?
I will not intervene in Afghanistan. A hubbub goes up among the crowd. Angle on military liaison, looking on from off stage. He rolls his eyes in frustration. Angle on set, Brinkley and Dr. Manhattan. Hands are already shooting up along the newsroom in the audience. Brinkley ignores them.
You're saying you would refuse a direct request?
There will be no requests. I will not intervene.
Well, Doctor, it's widely understood, or rumored, that you can actually see the future. Does your answer indicate that the hostilities in Afghanistan will blow over?
Angle on military liaison. He's steamed, but like everyone else in the studio, he's hanging on Dr. Manhattan's every word. He turns apprehensively to a colleague in the shadows behind him and snaps his fingers once.
I want a phone line to the booth now.
Angle on Brinkley and Dr. Manhattan. I see the future only as it relates to me. I have no control over it. I can only repeat that there will be no request, and I will not intervene. He sits there like a big blue Buddha. Brinkley shrugs and presses on.
Well, then I hope we can take that as an optimistic sign. I'll open the floor up for questions now. Doug?
Dr. Osterman, I'm Doug Roth of Nova Express. I'd like to read you some names. Colonel Brent Dabbs, Dr. J.M. Calendaria, Wallace M. Weaver. Do these names have any meaning to you?
All friends, yes. Associates of mine.
Let me go on. Stephanie Boris, William Charles Batts, Susan White. Are you aware that these friends and associates of yours have all been diagnosed with terminal cancer?
The crowd noise begins to build. Even Brinkley's taken aback. He gapes at Dr. Manhattan, who sits there silently, his inhuman face an unreadable mask. Angle on military liaison, eyes wide, hand cupped over the in-house telephone.
Oh, Jesus. I want this broadcast killed. I'll run out of that goddamn set if I have to.
Angle on set. Brinkley, Roth, Dr. Manhattan.
I have here an official list of 16 names, all similarly diagnosed. Now, for the record, Doctor, is there a connection?
By now, the crowd is about to erupt. Roth is shouting to make himself heard over the din. Brinkley, who's just gotten a message from the booth, touches his headset and announces,
I'm told it's time for a break. We'll be back after this brief message.
Within seconds, the military liaison has rushed out onto the set, flanked by 2 colleagues in mirror shades.
That does it. No more questions. Show's over.
The 3 of them all but yank Dr. Manhattan out of his seat. Then pandemonium breaks loose as eager newsmen bolt the gallery and mob the set.
Dr. Manhattan, are these allegations true?
Did you cause cancer? I don't wish to answer any questions.
You see the future. Did you know in advance? The doctor will not answer any of your questions. Now step aside.
The liaison and his boys form a wedge in front of Dr. Manhattan, but the mass of bodies and microphones is all but impenetrable.
How long have you known?
Why is the government concealing this information? Please, get out of my way. The liaison throws an elbow, knocking a reporter to the floor. Scuffling breaks out. Just as it's getting vicious, Dr. Manhattan lets out a thunderous shout. I said, leave me alone! In the wink of an eye, the soundstage is empty. No newsmen, no microphones, no cameras. Nothing but the lone figure of Dr. Manhattan and, still sitting in the chair behind him, Brinkley. Brinkley swallows hard and fidgets with his necktie. A moment later, there's an angry flash of white light, and Dr. Manhattan vanishes, leaving Brinkley alone on the deserted set.
Fade out.
That was pretty fun.
I liked it.
I'm really happy with the latency of the audio. Like, it's fast, snappy. Like, I don't feel like we're missing anything, really.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, really.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I have killer internet.
No, I guarantee you I've peaked a couple times because I'm used to your studio setup that gives me a lot of room for error, and I felt my chin hit the mic a couple of times. I'm like, move. I'm like, oh no, that's just for you guys.
You know, I think that we're going above and beyond for people to actually record this during this coronavirus crisis, and there's gonna be some growing pains. There's gonna be some difficulties with, adjusting to all of this until life gets back to normal, if that happens.
I'm with it.
So what I'm saying is people have worse things to worry about than your chin hitting the mic. Don't worry about it.
Do they though?
Well, I mean, yeah, especially if they're over 70.
They don't have a job.
That's my demographic.
I mean, look, Jeff, our job here is to make people forget that they don't have a job, they're stuck in the house, their loved ones are at risk of dying from a horrible disease, the whole government's falling apart and everything's terrible. We don't want people to remember that while they're listening to this, right?
You're right.
We are reading the Watchmen, though.
Yeah.
You can. We're like, listen, we need to give somebody a story they're forgetting. And there's one woman that just wants to leave the house, and there's another guy that's giving everybody cancer.
And Richard Nixon is president.
The Manhattan virus.
Manhattan virus.
Oh, man. So, Josh, you can't see it this time, but your info is up on the screen right now for our YouTube viewers.
Important. I feel like we're in the
up.
Brady Bunch
It's
right
above
now.
you both. Actually, Jeff, it's kind of right across your eyes. It's like right here is the bottom of it.
Well, you can find me at joshuajbaker.com. I actually started doing some real estate video work in that all the other stuff that I was doing, all the other productions, they were all fucking canceled. So I went and did some real estate work, and if you guys are interested in some real estate video, yeah, holler at me. You can reach me at Josh at joshuajbaker.com.
Isn't it me at joshuajbaker.com?
I changed it, homie.
Shit.
So
I gotta
check
change.
this out.
I gotta change this.
Because what happens is in some people's emails, when I send them from me, it looks like you get the email from me, and you're like, I didn't send myself a fucking email.
It
Like,
does say me.
yeah.
All right,
so
I'm gonna have
that's
to update the graphic on the screen. You should let me know, buddy.
Stop
I
looking.
didn't. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'll block it out. It's a white graphic, right?
It's got a drop shadow, Jeff, and now it's on our link tree, which is linktree/table reads. You can go there to find links to table reads everywhere on the internet that you can possibly find it, or just go to your favorite platform and search for table reads. And while you're there, drop us a review, 5 stars preferably. Let us know what you think. We really want to hear about what your genuine opinion of the show is. And we want other people to know what you think of it, especially if you like it.
This comes out right after Batman, right?
Yes.
Oh my God! Please let us know. Try to find something wrong with that Batman script that we read of our portrayal on it. I dare you to find a reason to give it anything less than 5 fucking stars.
Jeff's really proud of that.
I'm super. That's our magnum.
It's
opus.
so good,
guys. That shit's a fucking laugh a minute.
Yeah, I had more fun on that script than anyone that we've done. In fact, as we record this, part 5 of Batman has just dropped, and that was my favorite of the whole script. So, like, right now I'm really riding high on, like, this bat insanity.
I haven't made it that far. I don't know what happened.
If you want to find Jeff's work on the internet, you can't. So, once again, my people, suck it.
Take it. You can only find me at tablereads.com.
TableReadsPodcast.com.
That's what I said.
That's what he said. All right, guys. We'll see you next week for part 3 of Watchmen. We will still be in Corona lockdown because for us, it will be 5 minutes from now. For you, it'll be a week. But we, like Dr. Manhattan, traverse all time and space. So, we'll talk to you then, and until then, we will miss you.
This podcast was created by Sean McBee. For more, visit TableReadsPodcast.com. Cut to black.